I'm Sandy Rakowitz, and we're going to do some healing with the Akashic Masters today. The more people put things in the comments that I can see, they will work directly with those aspects of what it is that you have been working with, you have questions for, things that you would like help moving, releasing, shifting, transforming, transmuting, and the more that they can have to go on specifically with you. And there's some larger group collective things that have been coming in. And first, I'm just going to open up the space and inviting them in, and asking Divine Lords of unconditional love, light, to help us center fully in this moment as we create this sacred space, as we call this healing space into being. Please wrap us in your love and protection, and allow us to travel to the highest realms of the Akasha available to us today, to be able to allow those energies to be present here with us, to invite them in, to bring them in, to call in these beautiful, loving, light-filled energies, frequencies for each of ourselves and for those who are present here during this live, and also for anyone who will be watching this, who will be coming in and watching this later. Please help us as we lay our multidimensional hearts open, recognizing that we are multidimensional. We are not just these beings in a human body, but that we are souls here living through and in this body, being in this reality of life as a human, helping us to open into divine light, into divine love, and releasing all resistances, releasing all resistances. Please guide us into this deepest realms that we can travel into for each of ourselves and collectively today, supporting us, guiding us in trust that this is of the highest light and the highest love, in service for the good of all. We give great thanks for this divine love and support on this journey, and I recognize that this is the work of the divine moving through and in and with each of us. So if you have something that you want help with or support with, you can put that in the comments, and it should come up on my feed. Hopefully I will be able to see them. I'm going to try and open it up on my computer so I can see if some comments come on. I haven't done it with two screens before. So until I see any comments, I'm going to just tune in and see what the Akashic Masters have. I haven't done a healing quite this way before. I've done it with groups, with people who I'm in communication and direct contact with, and of course in many hundreds of one-to-ones. But Luna, the cat, is still not feeling well. She could use some healing help. Great. So we will see about what wants to come through for that, for sweet Luna. And Yeah, it's going to take me a minute. It's very different to do it without specific people. I do it for myself. I do it in other settings. So it's just interesting. I have to tune in a little bit differently. So we'll start with Luna, with a cat. And for, in what ways is she not feeling well? So the more specific information, the easier it is for that, the more efficient it is for tuning in and being, it can get much more specific. And so for all those who are not feeling well, until that information, if that information comes in with any more specifics, who are feeling out of balance, who are feeling that there's things going on in their organs, where they're feeling physically out of kilter, where their appetite is affected, where their digestion is affected. Let's see what, there's some larger clearing that's happening here. So this is not working specifically with one person, but really with the collective energies of how this is showing up right now. And so there's a sense of, I can feel like a sense of unrest. And so they're doing this clearing through the digestive system, through the kind of what they're saying is the ground of being. And there's a lot of, just closing my eyes, it helps me to tune in inward and with these frequencies. And I'm just going to keep naming what is moving through me with them. And so there's a circular, I don't know if you can see my hands or not. Let's see, circular movement and clearing. They've been using a lot of spiral and vortex energies to do a lot of clearing. And that movement comes in and goes into like specific, more stagnant energies, and then it's like it gets it circulating, it gets it moving, loosening up, and then clearing it up and out. And the guides are talking about a lot of unrest. So I'm off of the news, so I don't know specifically what's happening right now, but I know that there's certainly been a lot of challenging unrest that's happening, and that I hear from a lot of people where it is affecting their emotional well-being, their sense of stability, and that the animals really feel these things also, whether or not it's in your home directly. We all feel it. We're not always aware of it. And the animals are affected in various ways. And so for those of you who don't know me, I do work extensively with animals as well as with people, and the earth and earth energies in nature, and may or may not be obviously with divine energies. And so there's a lot of clearing out very old patterning of how things have been held in unrest. And I know that when they use particular words frequently, that there's just more that needs to come out and open around that sense of unrest, unease, feeling unstable. So they're doing a lot of clearing, like goes way down deep into the core of the earth actually, and how things have been rooted through people, through communities, through regions, and certainly we all know over the last year there's been a tremendous amount of unrest in many different ways, and it's going deep, deep down. We don't always think about our individual animals and what is going on with them individually as having a connection to a collective whole, but I see it all the time. And having worked with thousands of people with their animals over the last few decades. So there's just multiple clearings that are happening. So I know from doing this in private groups and one-to-ones that when collective energy comes in, it's very powerful. And whenever we clear for one individual for any element of collective disruption, unrest, difficulty, in any way, that it does in fact affect each of us and has a ripple effect out. That anytime any one person or animal or any one of us helps to shift a pattern, helps to shift something that's been held that has been difficult and challenging, especially when it's been long-standing, that it facilitates not only for you, but for those around you, those in your close proximity, as well as collectively. It helps to uplift and release and shift what is then available to come in that had been held in that way, particular way in the past, and often through centuries, right? You can look historically, tremendous amounts of unrest in many different ways. And so this is just really interesting. I'm following the energy. So now there's doing this clearing. It's like going into the center of the earth and going out in different directions globally. And so you can each tune in to any way that you've felt unrest for yourself, uneasiness, even dis-ease. And just invite the release of whatever related pattern there has been, whatever ways in which the energy, things have been stagnant or held or long-standing. If there's something that you've been wanting to happen or to help move that's just not been happening, invite that in to be cleared right now. This is really interesting because as I keep doing this spiral movement and how things have been anchored into the earth, they're just, the guides are showing me how unrest has been, it's almost like it's been implanted in us and in so many cultures around the world. And I just hadn't thought of it quite that way before. We certainly know that, we hear that on news and through history, but and that we've as individuals have also had that held in our systems. It's time for that to be gone. We need to hold open the space for new and different frequencies that where we can be in they're saying restful and as well as harmonious connection and communications, where there's understanding, where there is the desire for understanding, where there's the desire for compassion in seeing other perspectives, where there is a release through the heart so that the heart can open to be available for these different frequencies. If you think of unrest and if you think of it vibrationally, it has a heavy tone to it, does it not? It has a sense to it of being ill at ease, of being, if there's fear involved, there's uncertainty and instability in that. And that feels, if you were to put that in one hand and what that feels like and try that on in your heart, it doesn't feel very good, but you try on when you've known times and experiences when your heart has opened, when you have felt that compassion, when you feel that contact and feel that understanding, they feel very differently and they're held in various ways inside of us. And so it is just, they're saying time for that to leave our DNA, even to leave our space of how we hold that we expect, that there's unrest, that there will be more unrest in the world, that there will be difficulties and challenges, and that expectation has its own frequencies. And so this is, there's been, through the decades, since the 60s, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and now I don't know much specifically about astrology, but that we are in that time, and there are reasons why these messages come through, because it is the availability of new energies and frequencies and information, ways of being in contact and connection with each other. And part of that is the release of how this has been held in each of us, including through our animals. And we don't often, as humans, think of ourselves, or some do, some may not, as having in our bodies of being like an animal body, that we do have instincts that are similar to those with animals. And there's something in here about feeling the connection of your animal body, of that breath that unites us all, that of the desire and the need for physical contact and connection. Oh, right, because we haven't been able to have that in the same ways over the last year. Right, so that makes sense to especially as some areas are opening up more, people are traveling more, that we've been acknowledging how important that is, and how many people have felt isolated, and how those who have animals have had that physical contact. I know that's certainly true for me. Thank goodness for my animals, my horse and my cat. And it's like a sense of feeling freer. Yeah, and so in Chinese medicine, kidneys, and in the chakras, kidneys are related with the first chakra, which is about grounding, about earthing, about our tribe, about connection, about sense of safety versus fear. And this is in the northern hemisphere. This is the time, a change of time, seasonal time change. Sorry, when I'm got all these frequencies coming in, sometimes the words are not always coming through. Seasonal time changes, right? This spring, from winter into spring. It can be hard on the systems, and if there have been challenges with kidneys, for instance, like with dear Luna Cat, that this can be a little bit more challenging of a time. And so they're just clearing off. So since these are the only comments in here. They're working right off of how this affects all of us. So Luna, the cat, is being our representative basically today for her, but also for the collective of what's going on. And so there's a lot of like sloughing off of stagnation, sloughing off. A lot of people have felt that over the last year, right? Through all of what's been going on. And spring is a time of rejuvenation, of replenishment, of new growth coming in, of new energies coming in, of rebirth. And so it's like they're giving me this image of like kind of raking away the leaves and all the things that have been dead from that have been laying around through the winter. And I don't usually see them moving energy sideways, but that's what they're doing, so I'm going with it. And it's so that this clearing, so whenever we have clearing, whether it's clearing out leaves, it's so that what is needing to come up, what is needing to be birthed, what is needing to come up from the earth, from the soil, from the seeds that have been sowed, from the seeds that have been planted, from bulbs, from things that we have held within us over a period of time, can come up much more easily through the soil, through all that we have been tending to. In energetic terms, it is so that new frequencies can come in, so that we can emerge through our own hearts more fully, so that more of what is been underneath the stagnation, what has been underneath, what has been held, what has been underneath the unrest, what has been held underneath the fears that we have held safe by holding it back in a way, by protecting it, by insulating it, so that that unique beauty, brilliance that is within each of us, the health, the knowing of health and well-being that is in every single cell, that the knowing of perfect functioning, of the possibility for that functioning, knowing wisdom that comes through each and every cell, that light in the center, in the nucleus of every single cell that opens into the hologram of all that is more available. That remembering, that reckoning, that recognizing, that opening can happen more easily. That we give permission for that within ourselves and with each other. So they're holding points of light for us collectively right now. That are related to our connection with the divine. I haven't seen this like this. This is opening in new ways, because it's for the collective and for those who desire that opening and contact and connection. That go deep into the core of the earth. I do this with individuals and with groups of people that I work with, but I haven't as I said earlier, this is new for me to just open the doors for whoever wants to show up on Facebook, and to do this in a collective way, in this manner. It's very touching, very beautiful. So if you can sense, it's like a starlight energy above us. Starlight in the sense that it's a radiant light that's quite beautiful. There's been a lot coming in, especially in this last week, about connecting with magnificence. It's a beautiful word. Not used very often, I don't think, but I think it's time for us to claim that. And it feels, that light feels magnificent. And it connects into the core of the earth. And it feels, there's a tremendous amount of empowering energies in these frequencies that I can feel, and so that are available for anyone who wishes, they're saying, to partake of this, to just bring your attention to that point above your own head, and even through and for the collective. And to see what's here for you, available for you. And they keep talking about the light workers of the world. So I don't know. I know many. My eyes are closed, so I can't visually see who's on right now. But there must be quite a few on here. So, but it is for all of us and the light workers, to strengthen our conviction, to strengthen our connection, our commitment to the light and love, to support us, nourish. And so Luna and whoever else is here and needing to be held in these beautiful frequencies for uplifting and support and nourishment and clearing and connection and contact. So if you're just coming on, hi Julie, welcome, welcome. You can watch from the beginning when it goes back onto my site, and check your emails, because you should be getting my emails. And for those of you, as a reminder, forget when I'm in these energies of all these other pieces, as these energies are there. If you can see my hands, I don't know if you can or not. I can't really lift them at the moment, but they're doing some stabilizing of energies. But if you can turn on notifications. I'm going to be doing the Fridays at noon lives, and each week, I don't know if it's going to always be Akashic Masters doing healings, but that's what I was called to do today. The other times we talked about elephants and magic and creativity and unicorns and all sorts of things about transformation is the central theme. Healing, of course, always. Growth and well-being for people, with animals, and with nature and connection with divine. That's my mojo. That's what I come with. That's what comes through. And if you're not already on my email list, you can go to my website and sign up to see what else offers and things are happening. It's onehearthealingcenter.com. You because we are all of one heart ultimately. And I have a really exciting class. This kind of stuff resonates with you. Called Magic Medicine Transformation Series. And you can find that from my website. You can scroll down on my Facebook page. There's information about it with a link to click on. I'll put the link in the comments afterwards. But it's, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sandy Rakowitz. And there. So now there's a larger stabilization that's happening. And I've been looking into Clubhouse. So if you're on Clubhouse, I haven't posted anything yet, but I'm checking it out, and it looks like a pretty exciting forum, actually. The more I sit in on conversations that people are having, and the idea is all about connection and collaboration, which is like very exciting to me. And listening in, they call them, you go in, you join Clubhouse rooms, and I'll be scheduling some things on there, and both for two things. One will be about animal communication, animal connection with the animals specifically, and holistic care and wellness practices. And then there'll be another, this is what I've been guided with so far, and another about the Akashic realms. And I don't know if there'll be Q&As or exactly what yet. That's still coming through me and forming, but you can get started because it's a different format. You have to have an iPhone in order to do it. It's only iOS so far. They're working on other formats. But there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people on there with really interesting topics and things that, people doing all sorts of really cool, great work in the world in various ways. And so, and it feels really, it's a very supportive environment that I've seen so far, which I love. There. Okay. So, thank you. Never know. It's always interesting to see what's going to come through. I'm saying it again because it's a really different, expanded experience to do this with people, just sort of doing this as a live on Facebook in this way without a class or a specific program or one-to-one. It's now I can see why it's taken me so long to get here. It's really the energy that wants to come in is very big. It's very profound for me. I hope that it's helpful and useful for you, and that it is inspiring and nourishing for you in whatever ways are available for you. So thank you so much for joining, and I'll be back next Friday at noon Pacific. And we thank all the beings who've joined us here today, all these beings of light and love and connection, for all the nourishment, all the support, all of the insights and understanding that have been brought forward, for all of the energies and frequencies that are being held and helping us to know that we are more than just ourselves in this human body and that in our animal bodies, and that we are deeply held in light and love, and that we are collaborating and co-creating all the time, not only with each other, one another, but also with the divine, with us, and that they very much want us to continue opening. That's what my series, the Magical Medicine Transformation series, is all about, is bringing in these energies, being able to do this and create a beautiful map with the assistance of animals and nature. Yes, the other first class, you can still join in. The first class was all about bringing in divine ideas for each individual. It was so beautiful, it was so sacred, so tender, so powerful, so potent. And we're going to be creating a map that's specific for each person. It's a collective map. What we saw also is that there's a collective energy that is already starting to form with information. So there's like each person's individual information is coming in and available for you, and also that it is very telling for a beautiful collective. We're going to see what's going to happen. That's part of the beauty of this. It's so exciting, so wonderful. So please help us all, divine energies, light beings, Akashic Masters, Akashic healing, beings of light and love. Please help us all be fully in our human and animal bodies, connected with the divine and in our hearts, moving forward in whatever ways we most need to, that are most beneficial for the highest good of ourselves and for the highest good of all. And we ask and close and lock this session fully and completely. And thank you so much for joining. See you next time, or on Facebook, or in my classes, or wherever we meet each other.